Just like a head down. Right. Kind of a head down.
Yeah, call me that time doing it.
Right. Like, all right, everyone. What is it today?
Happy Wednesday!
Wednesday.
Water cooler Wednesdays, baby.
Exactly. And so we're here today every week. We're here every Wednesday, and we want
Every
to
Wednesday.
make sure, right, every Wednesday, right? We want to make sure that we educate you on all things about home buying and and selling. And my name is Dion Branch, and I am with Allure Dream Homes, brokered by EXP.
And I am Lisa J, the house money mama with Nexa Mortgage, where brokers are better. And we have a guest today. It's three of us this time.
Right. We have the fabulous Fabi with us. Fabiola, you want to?
Hi guys. Thank you for inviting Ida on your infamous podcast. It is an honor. I'm so humbled to be here, to be amongst you ladies.
Yeah,
we love it. We always have a good time when we get together.
Yes. And today we want to talk about down payment assistance. So we know that right now that a lot of people are interested in buying, but sometimes they just don't really have the cash that they need in order to close. And so there's a lot of different down payment assistance programs. What we call them, grant programs. What we want to call them, ladies? What should I be calling them?
Well, I would probably just refer to it as down payment assistance because not everything is a grant. Fab, you can talk more about it, but not everything is a grant. We'll just say it that way. And plus, really, we're factoring this into the whole series that we have. Because, remember last week we were talking about other ways to come up with down payment and things like that, just being creative and, figuring out ways to make it work for you.
Yes. So this week we're going to bring in Ida, and Fabi's going to share with us all things about Ida. So, but Fab, what is Ida?
So Ida is the Illinois Housing Development Authority. It started due to legislation back in 1967.
Really?
And since then, we have been helping thousands and thousands of families, covering over millions and millions and millions of dollars. And one of the things of IDA is we do not use taxpayer funds to fund our programs. So we fund our programs by ourselves with bond loans. So that's one of the good things about IDA is that we are not using any taxpayer dollars.
That's neat. Actually, I don't remember knowing that. You might have said that in the workshop of some months back last year. I'm not sure, but I really don't remember knowing that. That's pretty impressive.
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. So we actually just closed one of our hot programs, which was our Smart Buy program. It lasted, we were trying for it to last about 90 days, maybe even 100 days. Looks like it lasted about 80 days. And we helped over 550 families. So we're really excited about it. The program just closed this past Friday. So now that dust is settling, we're waiting for some funds to close. And then hopefully we'll be taking our receipts as far as amounts and ages and all the things that are needed for our numbers to see exactly how that was broken up for all the families across the state.
So what is the Smart Buy program? What does that entail?
So our Smart Buy program was a program that helped the family alleviate and pay off up to $40,000 in student loan debt.
Wow.
Yes.
That's a lot of student loan debt.
Yes, student loan debt to make your numbers work, to make those ratios work.
Yeah.
And so
Okay.
We released it December 2nd of 2024. And of course, we just closed it this past Friday.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, is that something that, because I've heard about that from before, and I do remember opening up not that long ago. So it seems like it comes back every so often. So is it something we can anticipate at some point will come back again?
So the first time Smart Buy rolled out was back in like 2021, end of 2021, beginning of 2022. Same kind of thing. This rollout end of 2024, beginning of 2025. Will it come back? We don't know. A lot of things can change. But as of right now, yes, the program is now closed. And we're very, very proud and excited about it. It went up.
Right. And each year that it has come out, it's normally like towards the end of the year that it comes out. Is that around the time?
There really is no rhyme or reason when it will come out. It, of course, it has to go through a series of approvals, and it has to go through the series of course, making sure that the governor announces it. We were trying to hopefully anticipate it back in October, actually, but we needed a couple of more approvals to go through, and that's when it was released in December.
Okay. All right. So everybody, if you have student loans but your loan amount has to be less than 40,000. Was that
It was a max of 40,000.
Right. So that was an opportunity. Unfortunately, we've missed it, but she has some other programs for us. So I'm going to share the spreadsheet so you can talk about some of the other programs that we have.
Absolutely. We still have our IHDA Access programs. Our IHDA Access programs are, not necessarily our bread and butter, but they are the hottest programs and the hottest products that we have. We have over 170 plus lenders that are approved with IHDA, Nexa being one. So thank you very much, Nexa. And so all of our approved lenders have access to our IHDA Access programs. So right now we have 3 programs available. We have our Access Forgivable, which is 4% up to a max of $6,000. This is a program where as long as you live in the home for 10 years, you do not have to pay those funds back.
Okay.
Our IHDA Access Deferred is our 5% up to a max of $7,500. This again falls under those deferred rules. So if you ever sell or refinance, that is when those funds would be returned back. And then, of course, we have our Access Repayable program. This program is 10% down, a max of $10,000. It is a repayable at a no interest loan. And so your estimated monthly payment back to it ends up being about $83.33.
Okay.
A lot of families ask what our qualifications are. So we always go into minimum credit score is a 640. Of course, you need to be the primary resident holder. Even though first time and non-first time home buyers are approved for these programs, the kicker is that you do have to be the primary resident holder.
I'm glad you point that out, because a lot of times that people, and I guess it's maybe kind of the traditionalism of grants and down payment assistance programs and stuff. A lot of times they would have a tendency to be tied to first time home buyer, or first time home ownership. And that's not the case. Most of the programs now that I know of, including IHDA, of course, they don't require that you're a first time buyer. They just require that it's your primary residence. If you are going to live there, even if it's because I know you guys do up to 2 units, right?
Yes.
So even if you live in one unit and you rent the other unit, because you live there, you're eligible for the program.
And that is what we call generational wealth.
We agree.
Yes, absolutely. And of course, IHDA has their income limits, as well as their purchasing pricing limits. And you can find those limits at mortgage@ihda.org. But for the sake of the conversation, I was in DuPage County today, and then of course Cook County today. So that income limit ranges to about like $134,000 $520.
Okay.
And for a single family condo, again, for a one unit is the purchase price, I want to say, is a little bit over 600,000.
Okay.
And then once you start going into that 2-unit environment purchase, I believe that the purchase price limit for that is over 700,000. So
Okay.
our income limits have increased, our purchase sales price limits have increased, and then of course our debt to income limit has also increased. It was a traditional 45% DTI, and we've increased that to 50% DTI now.
Well, yay.
So while you all lending people, what's a DTI?
Debt to income. Your debt to income ratio. And it's a big part of what drives the transaction when you're getting qualified for a mortgage loan. Okay. So if you let's see, the way that your debt to income ratio works in accordance with your purchasing power is that if your debt to income ratio is restricted, then so is your purchasing power. So you need having a higher debt to income ratio limit is good, because now that means you can actually buy more house. And as we all know, because we're in this industry, prices have gone up. So needing to have a little bit of extra room to really be able to afford what housing is actually costing nowadays, that extra 5% should help. It should help a lot. So yeah.
So just kind of recap, like, so the IHDA Access Forgivable 4%, that is, you don't have to pay that back. Is that correct? Is there how long do you have to stay in the property? Or
as long as you're in the property for at least 10 years, then you do not have to pay those funds back.
Oh, okay. And that was the forgivable, and I think I heard the deferred too, right?
The deferred works a little bit different. The deferred would have to be paid back if you sell or if you refinance.
Okay.
At any point in time. So if you're there 20 years, 30 years, 50 years, at any point in time, if you sell, then you would have to pay it back.
Correct. That is correct. Yes.
Gotcha.
Okay. And then the repayable, you're paying that over a period of time, right?
That is a period of time, yes. And then you do get a bill, and that estimated bill that you would get every single month to pay that back at a 0% interest loan is $83.33, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. All right. And then, but if you sell before you've paid everything back, I recall that they will probably prorate you.
Yep, it goes like retroactively. So if you took advantage of the forgivable, program, and let's say you took the $6,000 and you lived in the property not 10 years, but let's say 5 years, so then they would go back to those retro years, and then you would just have to pay that balance back.
Okay.
So whatever wasn't forgiven would need to be now added to your to what needs to be paid off at closing.
Correct. Yes. Right. Yes, absolutely.
So that's important for you, Dion, because when you were listing people, if they bought their house, obviously with an IHDA grant or IHDA program, I should say, then that would be something you'd have to take into consideration for their final numbers.
Yes,
absolutely, because title will stop you there. They'll be like, hold on, Dion, wait a minute.
Right.
Yes. And we have ran into that because, IHDA, like Fabi says, IHDA's been around for a long time. And
it's a long time, yeah.
Right. And a lot of people take advantage of this program because it's such a great way for you to be able to have some assistance with your down payment. Of course, as a realtor, I'm going to do everything I can to get some assistance from the seller. But just imagine you have assistance from the seller and you also have IHDA. That's even less money that you have to really bring to the table at closing time.
Right.
So, but when most people want to be in their house at least 5 5 years. So
yeah,
you have to kind of think about it when you're going through, like, okay, is this a long-term plan? If I only plan to be here a short time, which most people don't, but things happen. And so then we have to factor that in when we're selling your home. So yeah.
right. Yeah,
Absolutely. And a lot of families forget that they took advantage of the IHDA program. So when you're
really?
sitting down, and yeah, they do. When you're sitting down and you're gauging your sellers, and you're, having your appointments with them and letting them know, hey, this is, you have a beautiful home. It's going to go fast. Let's make sure that we have everything on our side, to make sure title and attorneys have everything. And a lot of times a light will, oh, wait, I got an IHDA loan. I got to reach out to IHDA to get my release. Oh, wait, that might take a few days. That might take, several days. So it definitely, you can imagine, there are a lot of families that forget that they even took advantage of it. Wow. And the thing is that now they took advantage of it for the first time, right? And now they're going to sell their home. Well, guess what? They can take advantage of it again in their new home, because they're going to be the primary resident holders.
And so is there a time in between that? Like, do they have to close out that other IHDA loan first before
they have to be released from the IHDA, the IHDA rules, you can say, in order to jump into the next one.
Okay. And so I do have a question, because I think if I was just looking at this flyer, this might be a question that I would have. So you have some percentages on there. What exactly do those percentages mean?
So it's 4%, max 6,000, 5%.
4% of what?
Of down payment. Yes, down payment assistance of the
DPA. Okay, so 4% of the purchase price is what you'll get, unless it's more than 6,000, then you'll cap it at 6,000.
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay. All right, it makes sense. I'm just trying to ask questions like, I mean, I knew what it meant. Y'all like, she over here having a blind moment. No, I knew what it meant, but I didn't ask the question.
But that's what we're here for, to ask the questions that the other people wouldn't know what they wouldn't ask.
Right, just in case somebody's looking, well, what do the 4%? Because you could think, a lot of people, when they see percentage, they, and I guess because, I'm on the lending side, they think interest rate, the percentages, they think everything is interest rate, and it's not. These are not interest rates. So I wanted to, kind of point that out.
So, and Lisa, though, is there a limit for how much assistance people can get?
So no, there's not really a limit, I don't think, for what people can get for a down payment assistance program. You can get all of your funds through that.
Okay.
Because they're not considered. So I know what you're thinking of, because we have like IPC, interest and party contributions, like, a seller, there's a limit for how much a seller can contribute, or what those things can cover, or there's a limit for what a listing agent or a buyer's agent can contribute to a transaction, because those are considered interested party contributions. But really, because of the fact that it's a program, it's almost like you having your own money.
Okay.
So there isn't really a limitation on that kind of stuff.
When we're talking about down payment assistance programs, because this is Illinois housing, this is the quasi state of Illinois. For example, I believe Hazel Crest is giving out 10,000. I know that Aurora has their own down payment assistance programs. These are all programs that you can layer on top of IHDA.
Yeah.
So as you're going through, the compilement of that loan for that family, you got to think about it. Like, okay, I'm going to get, this from this amount. I'm going to get this from this cookie jar. How many more cookie jars can I play with to make sure to take care of down payment, to take care of closing, and with anything left over, bring down that principal. And at the end of the day, that is what is going to, one, really, really service that family and set them up for success for the future of their home.
Okay.
And so I do have a question. Sorry, Dean, I got a lot of questions. You usually the one with all the questions. I got all the questions today.
Go ahead.
So I do have a question in regards to what else the funds can be used for, because I know different programs have restrictions that vary. So are we able to, for example, use any of those funds to have an impact on the interest rate? Can the rate be brought down, or is the rate whatever it is for that particular product?
IHDA does not let you buy down the rate with its own down payment assistant funds. And
Okay.
also IHDA does not participate in any of the 203K programs.
Okay, that's good to know. So you can't do rehab with IHDA.
Correct.
Okay. All right. And then, so is there a way, like, say, for example, like how Dion and you and Dion both kind of mentioned this, that you could get kind of layer stuff. So what if you had a seller that was really generous and say, you know, he wanted to contribute, I don't know, $5,000-$6,000 to our closing. Can you use those funds to then buy down interest rate?
There ain't no rule for that, as long as the IHDA funds are specifically for that down payment / cash to close issue.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. I'm learning a lot of stuff here today. So, okay, Dion, you can go ahead.
Everything. I was just gonna mention that I was recently in Maywood, and Maywood has a down payment assistant that they're offering as well. So,
yep.
Like
big things are happening in Maywood. Yep, you can layer that with IHDA funds. Yes.
Yep. So
okay,
you can definitely layer them up. There's definitely a lot of opportunity for you in this time to be able to buy. I mean, we've missed one great program, but we still have 3 others that are really great. Right. And so if you are interested in anything about IHDA, you need to reach out to your lender. We don't reach out to Fabby. Fabby's just here to market and let us know about it. But your lender is the one that handles the IHDA program and gets you through and approved. There's a lot of paperwork.
There is, I want to say there's between 2 to 3 signatures that we need. It is a lot of informational paperwork because, again, you are getting states, you are getting some down payment assistant funds for your transaction.
And let's just be honest, all the governmental agencies like paperwork.
Yes, we sure do. We sure do. And, you know, acknowledgement that U.S. Bank is the master servicer for our program. So I believe that's a signature page as well. But at the end of the day, our mission is to, you know, advertise for home ownership and make sure that home ownership is possible, and making sure that we can stabilize our communities. And we can't do that work without you guys. So I want to thank you guys for being advocates of putting families in homes, right? One of the things that I tell a lot of folks is, you know, how do you describe being a homeowner? And it's like, it's a feeling. It's a feeling of like security and hope, and just inspiration for the family. And so you can always ask me. I definitely align myself with individuals that have that same memo and that same vibe. So I want to thank you guys for being true advocates for homeownership and making sure that all families across the state of Illinois have those same feelings as well.
Yes.
Hey, oh, she's gonna make me cry.
Right. This county is making it a little difficult with the taxes, but we're here. We're still here. Right. We're still here.
Oh my goodness.
But and our goal is to educate you on different things like this. Let's take advantage of the IHDA program. If your credit score is above a 640,
minimum credit score of a 640.
640. Give us a call, and then we can make sure that you can qualify for one of these various IHDA programs. There's three.
Right. Yep. Whatever makes the most sense. Yep. But it's great you have a couple different ones that we can choose from. That's awesome. So any what would be your story? What's your IHDA story, Fabby?
My IHDA story?
Yes. Do you have one?
Do I have an IHDA story? Yes. So before I was with IHDA, I was with a lender. I was with a mortgage lender.
Okay.
And it was my very first IHDA deal. as a CRE loan officer, your job is to make sure you have your hand in all of the cookie jars, because every family that you encounter needs everything. And so I was on the west side. That was my territory.
West side?
Sorry. Yes, I was on. It was a location on Lake and Pulaski.
Okay.
So, and I remember we used to have Cook County sheriffs that used to guard the location. And somebody tried to steal my truck in the parking lot when I was walking out.
Wow.
And I was able to diffuse the situation, long story short, got out of there. And the next day was like my admin day. I would take some loans and I would go back to my office and I would, upload them, make sure everything was locked, everything. And my boss comes in and he goes, what happened to your face? And I said, oh, you know what? This guy, he struck me with a, pipe. It was a whole issue. It was the whole thing.
Oh my goodness.
And he said, I don't ever want you to go back there again. And I said, whoa. I said, actually, I got 2 appointments tomorrow there, and both of them are single moms and they need their houses. And so I went back there the next day, and the security, they're like, oh my God, are you okay? We saw you on video. I said, really? You guys didn't help me?
Right. Right. Y'all just gonna sit there and watch?
I said, you could have not told me you caught me on video. So then they said, actually, no, we couldn't, because we didn't know if what was happening to you was a diversion for somebody else to come into the bank.
Oh, wow.
And they're like, why did you come back? You shouldn't have came back. I wouldn't have came back. I said, what are you talking about? I go, we represent this community.
Yeah.
And so my IHDA story was I was able to put those 2 moms in IHDA programs. And they were able to purchase their homes. And to this day, I still communicate with both of them.
Yeah.
Oh, that is awesome.
Yes.
I wasn't expecting quite a dramatic IHDA story, but I absolutely love it.
We'll have coffee so I can go.
Right.
Yes.
We need to find those security guards and let it happen.
Yeah, it was a whole thing, guys. It was a whole thing.
Oh my goodness.
Right. But you know what? And that's the thing. There are a lot of families out here, a lot of people that need our assistance, and they're not aware of all the different programs and things that are out here. Yeah. And that's the purpose of the Water Cooler Wednesdays.
Yes, it is.
Right. For us to make sure we educate you every week on something new, something about purchasing or buying a home. And we're so glad that Fabi was able to join us today.
Yes.
And I'm going to show this. I'm going to show her form one more time, right? So,
and this is a flyer that if anybody, any lenders, any realtors, they can go on our website, mortgage@ihda.org. These are actual flyers that you can plug and play with.
Yeah.
And you can actually put your information at the bottom, and so that you can market yourself along with our IHDA flyer.
Okay.
Awesome.
So we'll definitely put the flyer up later today, so it'll be available for anybody if they want to see it, and we'll have our information on there for you to be able to contact us. All right.
Sounds good. Thank you so much for coming on today, Fabi. As always, you were absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Have
a great day. See you next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday. We're still talking about down payment next Wednesday.